The Republican Party is split three ways on the big, beautiful bill. My mom calls it the BBB. I said, that's good branding. Good marketing, Mom. See? Maybe it's genetic. Welcome. Doug in Exile. This is where the happy patriots are. I hope you guys have subscribed. Leave a comment below. Let us know that you're there. We love hearing from you. My mom was reading all of your kind comments from the last video when she showed up. She said hundreds of people in my audience sent her their love, and she feels your love. And I just think that's very cool of you all. So thank you guys for all being so kind and so cool and treating my mom so well. Here's Jim Jordan on the big, beautiful bill that's dividing the Republican Party.
Right. I mean, Sean, that's why Democrats don't like it, because this bill's so darn conservative, so darn Republican. It cuts taxes, as the president said. It secures the border, allocates resources to make sure the border the president's already got secure stays secure. It requires work for able-bodied adults who are in our welfare system. I mean, that's a basic principle of the Republican Party. And it also tells moms and dads, we're going to give you the choice about where your kid can go get the kind of education they need to get to achieve the American dream. It has school choice. Those are four fundamental Republican principles. We're the party that says, let you keep more of your money to go after your goals and dreams. We're the party that says we need to have a border secure, not what we had under Biden. We're the party that says work is a good thing for taxpayers, the economy, most importantly for the recipients of welfare, people trapped in that system. And we're the party that says empower moms and dads to give their kids the best education. All four of those things are in this bill. That's why in the end, I think we get the votes for it. I think we get it passed and move on with what we told the American people we were going to do on November 5th.
So that's the big picture establishment phrase. Look, it's got the four big ones in there. Let's just pass it. Okay, that's not good enough for the purists. I'm going to jump on the purists on this one because I want this thing just to pass. Trump needs a win. You got to pass this thing. Here's over at the post-millennial breaking. State unanimously passes no tax on tips bill. The Senate, unanimously passes. That means Democrats and Republicans are united. It's very popular. Remember when Trump came up with this and then Kamala Harris pretended like it was her idea when she lied? The head of the GOP with Harris Faulkner on the big, beautiful bill.
And this is the president's leadership, and we're seeing it right now in real time. The president has put down a marker and said that we need to get this bill done. We need to get it done now. The American people support that, and that's why we are seeing the pressure that's being brought to bear. And we are watching sausage get made, right? Mm-hmm. This is I'm just a bill happening in real time. And we're very excited about the prospects of getting this done.
Okay, so once again, that's the establishment. We're excited about getting this thing done.
Is Committee to Unleash Prosperity founder Steve Moore. Steve, you know where my equilibrium is? It would be zero. If they think they're going to move it up to 80,000, then you're never going to appease them. So let's ratchet that down from 10,000 to zero. That would be more fair to everybody. And you got a problem with it? Go talk to your state legislators. Don't go talking to us out west, for instance. Why should we have to pay for their crap?
What does he mean? He's talking about the SALT cap, SALT, the state taxes that New York and California Republicans want the write-off to be bigger. And this is mainstream Republicans saying, forget you on your special treatment, Republicans in New York and California. It's technically a giveaway and an entitlement. So they're going to have to compromise. This is the tough one to overcome, guys.
So that's right, Jason. And I'll give you a perfect example because are you still a Utah resident? What
yes,
state
are
you a resident of?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, I thought you were. So let's take Utah and New York. Taxes are roughly twice as high per person in New York as they are in Utah. And yet you have better services in Utah than New York. I've been to both states. So they have these big obese governments. And what they want is taxpayers in other states to pay for their, as Dagan was saying, they want people in other states to pay for their services. Now, when we put this bill together in 2017, I was one of the people at the bargaining table that said, look, we've got to get rid of SALT. There's no reason why there should be any SALT deduction at all. High tax states should not be able to put their taxes on people in other states. We didn't get full repeal, but we put in a $10,000 cap, which I thought was too high, but I could live with it. And then we said as a compromise, okay, we'll do 20,000. And now they said no. Well, then we said 30,000. No, we can't negotiate with these people, yes. Dagan and Jason. They just keep asking for more and more and more. And it is simply a tax break that rewards states for wasting money, and that has got to go.
This is a handful of people who have already turned down with no phase out. A $30,000 cap is half a
I don't want to get too deep into the weeds on that, but I do want to let you know that's one of the major dissents on this bill are the rich California and New York Republicans. And then here's Thomas Massie, which is the other faction. Thomas Massie, major provisions of the big, beautiful bill are still being negotiated and written, yet we are being told we will vote on it today. Shouldn't we take more than a few hours to read a bill this big and this consequential? The fiscal conservatives like Thomas Massie, Chip Roy, Clay Higgins, they're going, hey, slow down. What's the rush?
We accepted the White House's offer last night. Unfortunately, it's not yet codified in this agreement. We need to continue to work at that. We as members are at the table. We don't want the deal to be ended. This is an arbitrary deadline. If today comes and goes, it doesn't mean that this possibility to make sure that taxes stay low and that we fix America's healthcare system and fix America's energy system, it doesn't mean that prospect is off the table. It just means it might not happen today. And it's important that everybody knows that, because there's some kind of belief in Washington, D.C. that once today comes and goes, that this cannot be fixed.
So do you hear what he's saying? He goes, there's no deadline. It's arbitrary. The rush is arbitrary. All these guys are the Freedom Caucus type fiscal conservatives. So this is Chip Roy. And then on the right, that's Clay Higgins. And are you hearing the message? They're going, there's no rush on this thing. That's the vocabulary they decided to use.
Listen, America, remember that this alleged deadline that is not a deadline.
Oh, here goes the no deadline.
It's like a self-imposed deadline. So there's no actual urgency akin to like the end of the fiscal year.
Oh, wait till the end of the fiscal year. I'm just going to contrast this with everyone online blowing up right now, all over Mike Johnson going, you're a rhino. You're a sellout. You guys have accomplished nothing. You've accomplished nothing in law. You're not doing anything. And then Clay Higgins here and Chip Roy and Matt Perry guy, the fiscal conservatives are going, do even less. There's no rush. Take your time. Do even. No, it's an emergency. Get this thing done, you guys. I'm worried. I'm worried about Trump's agenda. I'm worried Trump doesn't get a win. Trump needs a win. Things are not cool. Things are not fine. Your government is in big trouble. We have to pass this thing. And it might raise the debt. You guys can tackle reducing the debt later. Get this giant, I don't care if it's Porkfield, I don't care what it is, Trump needs the win, get it passed. And these fiscal conservatives, Trump calls them grandstanders because they know the closer we get to September, the real deadline on this thing when we start, or the end of the year when we start losing Trump's tax cuts, they gain more power. So their veto has more power. So they want a delay on it. Trump talking about, he uses the F word on this one, but they bleep it out. But you'll see that Trump is not messing around with Medicare and Medicaid on this thing. And he's telling Republicans, like, don't even mess.
Trump was pretty blunt inside the room when it came to the issue of Medicaid, Wolf. In fact, we are told from multiple sources, 2 sources inside the room, that Trump said, quote, don't F around with Medicaid. And he used the curse word, not F around, but that was the message to his colleagues. The question is going to be whether those Republicans will ultimately fall in line, because we know that Mike Johnson can only afford to lose 3 Republican votes on a straight party line vote. He's trying to get this out of the House by Thursday.
He can't lose 3 votes, and he's already got Thomas Massie and all these guys picking around the edges. Why is this important also to not wait and not take our time? Because someone can die in office. That's not being funny. Here's the Democrats that have died in office during this debate. This is Rep. Sylvester Turner, a Texas Democrat, dies at 70. Democrat Rep. Raul Grijalva of Arizona dies at 77. More from Congress. Rep. Jerry Connolly, top Democrat, on the Oversight Committee, dies at 75. When you only have 1 or 2 votes in the spans, you can't take anything for granted. The longer it takes, the bigger the risk. I'm sorry, Thomas Massie and everybody. We're going to have to rush you through on this. And I know you guys don't like it, and that's just the way that adults have to work. Here's another guy on Twitter right here with, there's Trump and Massie. Trump's biggest weak point so far is his discernment about Thomas Massie. Now, these are all the guys coming out and defending he and the Rand Paul types and the Clay Higgins. MAGA would benefit greatly from listening to Massie. No, we're not going to do it. About the massive debt the big, beautiful bill is going to create. No, it's not political grandstanding to explain in detail why a bill is counterproductive to MAGA. I'm only going to fight this argument with this guy's name is being libertarian. Being libertarian. As soon as you hear the word libertarian, these are the 1% losers. They are good at getting just 1% of the vote. Being libertarian means, sorry, children, the adults are here having a conversation. Now, here's Marjorie Taylor Greene in support of this. Remember, I'm going over the campus. Marjorie Taylor Greene has joined. This is the big, major Republican establishment. She's in agreement with Mike Johnson and Jim Jordan, and in disagreement with Thomas Massie. And for everyone who goes like, oh, Mike Johnson, no. Well, Marjorie Taylor Greene is backing him up on this one. Listen to this. Every no, that's Chip Roy and Thomas Massie, every no on President Trump's big, beautiful bill is from the Freedom Caucus. That's Clay Higgins too. Freedom Caucus and Tim Burchett, who are DeSantis supporters. And one was Nikki Haley. So now she's throwing them in with DeSantis and Nikki Haley, who are also allegedly fiscal conservatives. Not Trump, not MAGA. They can't lie and say they support the president and his agenda. Did you hear that, Chip Roy? Clay Higgins, Thomas Massie. They didn't when he was running for president, and they don't now, and prove it by openly refusing to vote for this one big, beautiful bill that the White House and Congress has worked on together. Same goes for the SALT New Yorkers. They have fought only for rich people in Democrat, highly taxed states. While I may not like everything in the bill, there are many things I love in the bill. And most importantly, it passes my president's agenda and many on his campaign promises to the American people that I fought for alongside for years. You, the American people, are responsible for who you send to represent you, as well as holding all of us accountable to you. I encourage you to go peacefully and make your voices heard, like my favorite president once said. So whose agenda are they fighting for? DeSantis? Haley? Themselves? Because a no vote is against Trump's agenda, which is your agenda. I'll also notice that they, even worse than agreeing with DeSantis and Haley, forget that, they're agreeing with all the Democrats. Thomas Massie, you're agreeing with the Democrats. Here's more. Marjorie Taylor Greene giving them heck.
The president's message was strong. It was, we need to support and pass this big, beautiful bill. These deliver the campaign promises that President Trump gave to the American people for the past year. And this is what the American people voted for.
This is what the American people voted for. Sorry, guys, I'm a fiscal conservative. That's not what the people voted for. Let's go to the loser patrol. Here's Schumer on, he's freaking out that the Green New Deal stuff is going to be sunset in 2030, and he thinks it's crazy. So the Democrats are coming going, we can't support this bill. There's Raphael Warnock in the background with Chuck Schumer. They agree with Thomas Massie, and Chip Roy and Clay Higgins vote no on this
10
bill.
years from now, because clean energy is the future. It's cheaper and better. It's going to hurt our country, our families, our children in so many ways. This ideological obsession that the hard right, led by the oil, gas, and coal industry, have against clean energy is going to be very harmful. It's going to be one of the worst, there are many, but one of the worst things that this administration is doing.
This is from Biden's sharp as attack, Chuck Schumer. Biden can do cartwheels and jumping jacks. He's so sharp. And Chuck Schumer says, we're only removing the Green New Deal stuff at the behest of the oil industry. Haven't heard that one in a while. It's time for you to vote in the chat below. Do you agree with Thomas Massey and say no on this bill? Do you agree with the SALT New Yorkers and LA Republicans and say you got to raise our tax write-off so we don't pay as many taxes? Are you on board with Mike Johnson, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and most of all, Donald Trump and the majority of the Americans that voted him into office? Pass the BBB. I'm Doug in Exile.